Welcome back to Catching Up with Katie. It's been a couple of weeks since we've all sat down and did.
It has been a while.
Indeed.
That's a little combination of did and done. I've been combining words lately. Honestly,
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Yeah, gorgeous was the word this morning.
Yeah,
Beautiful
okay.
and gorgeous together. But it's just been a minute since we did a little debrief, talked about what's been happening. It's been quite crazy. And honestly, this past 7 days, past 10 days, can step on a Lego. I don't really know anything worse to say than that. It sucks, but we're just happy to be alive. We're all safe. And you might notice that there's a new little addition over to my right. So we'll talk about her in a moment. But Miss Lindsay is going to guide us in the events, not all of them, there's too many, but in the major events that have happened since our last little meeting. So where do we need to start?
The last thing we kind of touched on was Coco's birth and like the aches and D&D and whatnot.
Okay.
So since then, we've had, the first thing I have on the list is the barn update. It's coming along.
Yeah.
What would
So right now, it's obviously done a little bit later than what I had initially.
Wow.
Now
I
we
do
admit.
think there is someone in this room that had doubts about my timeline and
Big doubt.
Big doubts.
and to be fair, if weather had been perfect every single day,
That's
I
very
think
true.
it would have been close, but we had lots of stuff happening. So right now there are horses in the barn. Well, kind of. They're like in the overhang outside of the barn because we had to move, put up some of the stalls. We'd already planned on doing some outdoor stalls. And so the quarantine mares, which we'll talk about in a second, and then a couple of the younger horses are out in those outdoor stalls just to give us space for all the new foaling stalls in the... Honestly, I should probably call it the foaling barn going forward. Like that's probably what it'll be kind of known as and used for.
The OG.
Yeah, the OG barn, the foaling barn, the big barn. And then the new barn is basically where like the training horses, yearlings, all that good stuff are going to go. And so it's rocking and rolling.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. We need to go look.
Yeah, I haven't
We
been
need
in
to go
there
do a
yet.
little update on one of the videos. So, but yeah, that, and then I guess we can go ahead and talk about this little peanut.
Oh.
So are you stuck? I just woke her up. I just woke up a sleeping baby. I'm so sorry.
You got a new dog?
Shut up. Shut up. So I do want to get ahead of some things. So I'm going to put her back over here. She's tired. This is Frankie. She has lots of nicknames. So Frankenbeans and Frankenfurter have been the ones that I've been using the most.
Yes.
Frankie Panky, Frankincense, Francis, Francesca, Francine, Frank. I call her Frank
Bob and Frank.
a lot. So anyway, this is Frankie.
Franny.
Frankie is 10 weeks old, or almost 11 weeks now. My friend Jenna Seppa helped me find her and then brought her to me and hung out for the weekend. It was a good little weekend. And so I want to get ahead of some things. So on Catching Up with Katie, since we've begun, I believe the early episodes, the topic of a new dog was no, not getting one, don't want one. I think the next one needs to be Jonathan's dog. Like that was the consensus. You remember that.
I remember that.
I remember that.
This is
I
even
wasn't-
earlier.
Oh,
This
so
is even-
so this
Yeah.
conversation was happening before.
This is back from like back in the Airbnb when we were
Yeah.
filming. Like this is
Wow.
like a long time ago. And I was like, no new dogs. And to be fair, that's been like 2 years ago. And so since then, I started talking about getting another dog. And I started talking about, well, I don't think we want to get like a hunting dog or a whatever dog. And so since then, the rhetoric has been poor Jonathan. Jonathan didn't get his dog. She's so spoiled and gets whatever she wants and runs over him. That's been the consensus. And I just want to point something out. Jonathan bought me this dog for Christmas. I did not.
She didn't even know.
I didn't get this dog. This dog was a surprise. And he knew if I ever got another English bulldog that I had lots of things on the list for like health testing, for, yeses and nos about breeders. And then he did the very smart thing and reached out to one of my friends that knows more than he does. And then she helped him.
Yeah.
So he bought me this dog. Okay. Number 2, I believe that my dogs would have been dead long ago if he was the only one looking after them. Okay. Love the man to death. But like animals, he can build a dang fence so fast. He can build so many things. He's so good at so much stuff. He's been actually amazing foaling this year. Like he's been so like hands on. No, you stay up here. But like his brain doesn't work in animal care. Like he doesn't think of, I should probably feed the dogs. I should probably check and see if they have water.
Yeah.
They probably need to go to the vet.
Yeah.
That does not go up there.
Yeah.
And so I would love to willingly help him have a dog
Yeah.
that he has like a companionship with in the future when we have the space and you're gonna be like, you have a farm. We don't live on that farm and we live on a 55-mile-an-hour highway. I want to live somewhere else before we get a like working dog that needs the time and space. And so we had talked about over the past year probably about how Winnie's like 4. It'd probably be good to get a puppy before she's like old and crotchety.
Yeah.
And we decided that we wanted, I wouldn't call bulldogs low maintenance because they're like, well, a well-bred one isn't super high maintenance, but they just, you give them some toys. They go outside a little bit. They're pretty chill just to be like hanging out with you. They're not like in need of a lot of exercise that's past like a normal amount. Like they're not like a really high energy, high needs dog. It's like a border collie or a hunting dog or whatever that needs lots of stimulation.
Winnie will play, but like she'll get very tired. Not
and then
tired,
she's like,
but she'll be
I'm gonna
like,
go take a nap.
I'm gonna go lay down.
And so we were like, you know what? That kind of fits our needs right now. And then he surprised me with her for Christmas. So Frankie, I just need y'all to know, like if he took care of the dogs, I would have no problem with him getting whatever dog he wanted, but he doesn't. He has no hand in keeping them alive.
He just doesn't have that in him.
No, doesn't have it in him. And that's okay.
Yeah.
We all have our strengths.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was another addition. So that I think it's been almost a week. She's been here for six days.
Since last Friday.
Yeah. So Frank the Tank. That's another one. Frank the Tank.
That's a good
Has
one.
anyone watched Old School?
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
No one else had seen Old School.
I like it. Yeah.
At one time,
The Will Ferrell movie?
It's a classic.
I'm aware of the movie. That's about as far as
Frank
I
the
can go.
Tank.
Never heard of that
Frank the Tank.
in my life.
Just look up Frank the Tank.
That part.
There's a
The new woman plus, I mean, we have like new women.
yeah. We have 3 new women.
We have 3 new women.
Ladies.
The paint mares,
Horses.
whatever. It's a horse, Lindsay.
Like, we have 3 horses, okay? And honestly, it's more like 5 new horses because
Oh, I forgot about the.
you weren't even there.
Yeah,
So-
I'm lost.
They're hopefully not even coming to the farm. I did purchase some new thoroughbred mares. A friend of mine, her dad was sick and getting older and kind of selling off his thoroughbred herd. And so I bought a couple of thoroughbreds. And so we're hoping to put embryos in them.
Didn't you also happen to purchase some?
Lindsay.
Relax.
Lindsay!
Slow down.
Okay, no one knows about that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we hadn't said anything about it yet.
So, yes.
Oops.
We'll talk about that later. So the 2 thoroughbreds, their names are Kimmy. That was just her name. Kimberly and Melody. And they are hanging out at my friend's house. And then hopefully they'll just get bred and then be sold with the embryos in them. And so
You're buying them to sell them.
essentially, yes.
Okay, so you're
because
you're helping.
they're like the recip farms where you like rent a recip. It's like $4,500 to $7,500
Yeah.
to rent for a year. So if you can own some mares and like, it works out better usually. It's just you don't have the convenience of like having a mare ready whenever you want it. So those two aren't even on the farm, but the ones on the farm, New Woman, Big Yellow Machine, and Outmaneuvered are their names.
Outmaneuvered is sick.
Yeah,
That's a
Outmaneuvered.
cool name.
And so I've shown y'all them before, like their pictures.
Yeah.
I don't think I've shown the lady's picture, but New Woman is like a 16 two-hand red
Whoa.
thoroughbred mare.
She's huge.
Big one.
Yeah, big girl.
Whoa.
She's 16.2, like red, big white stockings, white belly spot. So she can be registered. I'm going to have to look up the exact rules because rules change a lot within APHA, which is the American Paint Horse Association. And so we're going to double check. I would have bought her regardless. But I think if I register her as a paint brood mare, even though she's a thoroughbred, it's like you can register the thoroughbreds with AQHA and with APHA as brood mares to have appendix babies. So if I register her through APHA because she has qualifying white markings, I think
Her babies?
her babies can be double registered.
Okay.
If I breed her to a quarter horse stallion, I think her babies can be double registered. I will double check.
And forgive me for asking this. Being double registered, that makes it
Or they can show at both paint horse and quarter horse shows.
okay, cool.
So they have like a double whammy. Like
You can win many things.
you can win many, or you just can choose. You have like the availability to choose. And so she's really cool for that reason. And she's a thoroughbred and she like moves amazingly. So she's 5. She's never had any babies. Gonna breed her to Code Red. Then last year, this is why I've shown y'all these. I told again my friend Jenna, I was like, hey, in no rush, whenever you see something that is like a nice mare that's within like my recip budget, recip being a surrogate mare budget, I was like, if you see a nice mare that could possibly have her own baby and is like loudly colored, double registered, let me know. That's a tall order.
Very.
I'm like, that's a tall order.
And she
just keep an eye out for that. I had these 2 horses bought an hour later because she was like, oh yeah, here's 2.
Wow.
She served it on a platter.
And I was like,
Dang.
okay. So I bought these mares. They stayed in Colorado until a couple weeks ago. And so we're trying to breed Blondie, Big Yellow Machine. She's a Palomino Overo. We're trying to breed her to Denver. And then we're trying to utilize Ariel, the red one, as a recip this year. We'll see in the future. But next year, if all goes well, because everyone gets mad at me about having like, all you have is red babies and bay babies. If next year goes well, or like this breeding season goes well, we'll possibly have a Sophie baby, a Blondie baby, and a Buttercup baby. So we'll potentially have either buckskins or palominos or,
Wow.
they're all still going to come out red.
Yeah.
They're all still going to solid solid red.
100%.
Yeah.
Whatever you order, it's going to be the complete opposite.
But yeah, so we have the new mares and that all was happening last week. We had a really busy last week. And then I think right now I don't have any plans of buying anymore. I think
never
we're
do.
full.
You never do.
I think we're full. I need y'all to acknowledge how many I say no to.
You don't tell us so.
People just like
They throw
serve
'em
me
at you?
horses constantly to buy. Like I've said no so much.
Dang. Has there been any horses that you're like, I really want it, but I just can't do it?
There's been a couple.
I wish you would tell us. And I could be like, buy it.
No, I've had a couple.
Why she
And
doesn't.
we'll see. But
Do they?
that's the new horses.
Sweet.
Cool. Oh, and you're forgiven for that question, by the way.
What
Thanks.
question?
What does
She
the
said,
double register?
Forgive me for asking this.
Oh.
I just wanted to let her know that.
I was forgiven.
Yeah.
She is
Thank
forgiven.
Okay, thank
Thank
you. By the way, if it stinks, it's because
She did it.
she did it.
Okay.
Right.
Her toots do be stinking so bad.
Puppy toots.
So bad. I just hold her paw
I did too.
all the time. It's so meaty.
I love when she puts her head in your hand.
Could you see her eyebrow? Look at her eyebrow.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see her
Wow, one
on camera?
So cute.
Yes.
Look at her eyebrow. I'm sorry. You go back over here. Kimmy, thank you so much for laying with her. They haven't really like loved each other yet, so this is good.
This is so cute.
So every time a horse has been born, which I think the only birth we haven't talked about on here is Lexi.
Yeah.
And Lexi, its name is Benedict, which is hilarious because in his birth video, I think I'm like, his name's Tater. And
potato.
calling him something completely different. His name is Benedict. And so I want to flip the script and ask you about
Lexi.
like, because this is your first foaling season. I want to know your thoughts on Lexi's birth.
Okay, so wild process. Obviously the baby came out fine, whatever, and then
Which that was another full alert call of being like, full alert! Like everyone awake. Where was everybody?
I don't even know what time it was.
I don't even remember.
It was 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, I wasn't here for
I
this
was
one.
tossing and turning in my bed, and he
yeah, this is the
screamed.
daytime one.
Yeah, this was the morning one.
That was a brutal day. I didn't go to bed till
Yeah, y'all look so
next day.
defeated
We
when
all-
I got here.
We all stayed up so late playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
We
y'all
probably
were
had 3 hours.
so dead when I got here.
Yeah, I mean, nobody I
Nobody
didn't
thought.
think.
Yeah.
Because she was also really early.
Yeah.
So she had him at like 323 days. We were
Yeah.
watching Charlotte.
We were watching
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then, so I get up, I'm putting on my shoes, whatnot, and we get there. She's starting to have the baby, and everything was going great. I wasn't like worried or anything about what was happening. But then when the baby actually came out, and they were like, he's not really, he's moving, but he's not really like picking his head up. He's not being like.
He looked pretty deceased.
Yeah, and so I was like,
Which, like, I'm laughing now because we actually we'll get to that. But, like, don't take my, like, funny demeanor right now as, like, it's totally a trauma response. Anyway.
Yeah, he looked concerned.
yeah,
You told me that you and Matt had been like, yeah, this one's
Like,
toast.
This one's toast.
But once y'all tilted him upside down and he started all the
I don't know why he
fluid
had
came
so much
out.
fluid because the bag hadn't broken or anything like
Not
that.
at
It's
all.
not like he. And so when he came out, like I heard him try to take some breaths, and it was just like it was so blocked, and so
Yeah.
probably within literally a minute of him coming out, Jonathan and Austin, I was like, come over here and like support him in this way, and then they tilted him completely upside down. And after did you remember the initial like
Swoosh.
rush of fluid out of his body?
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like a slow trickle. We just let it trickle out for a bit. But yeah, I was shocked. I've never seen that much fluid come out of a baby. But yeah, that was crazy. And then once we got the fluid out of him, he did okay. But he was like a mild dummy foal.
Yeah.
So he was up and pooping and, you know, walking around and curious and definitely trying to eat. But you never noticed him like, you noticed,
Not latch.
but not even latch. Like
He wouldn't turn his
suckle.
head.
like
either.
you'll see a lot of them like just suckle the air, and he just really wasn't
He's
suckling.
just kind of wondering.
He was just kind of wandering around, and so we did the Madigan squeeze and all that good stuff. So it all ended up well.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're putting your nervous system through it.
Oh yeah. I cried yesterday because of the goats.
You did.
I texted Rachel. I was like, I'm gonna cry right now. I was like,
When?
after I left.
Oh.
I'm okay. She's my favorite. So I was really sad.
And then it'll be okay. It's better that it happened when it did.
Yeah.
So, okay, for context. Yeah, that's why this week can go step on a Lego. And it comes in threes, so maybe it's done.
I really hope so.
Maybe it's done. So, like last night we and it's always at 4:50 when everyone's
Right when
like
we were trying to leave.
it's like when we're leaving to go home is when things happen. So we were pulling in after being like at the barn all day. And you know, we pass by the goats all day every day, and like I pretty much take like a little like quick mental note subconsciously
are.
like every time we see them, you know. There's not many of them, so you can kind of see all of them at once, and it's generally that they're all together. And I looked out there and I was like, Honey's not out there. And they're like, yeah, she was. And I was like, So like literally backed up, and she wasn't out there. And so we pulled around and we saw her sitting in the front of the kidding castle. That's what we call like their little house. And like the door was open and she was just standing in the door. I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
that doesn't look good to me. And so, because generally that means like something's wrong if they've gone off by themselves. And so we went in there, and of course, when we went in there, all the goats come rushing in, and she didn't look sick, or she wasn't acting really weird by any means, but we at first glance, I'm like, you look okay, but then she turned around and she had like afterbirth on her.
Yeah.
And then we went and did some digging, which I'm very glad you were not in there. Very glad you stayed outside.
What do you mean digging?
Not
Just like
digging, just like
investigating.
we investigated around.
Yeah, I'm very glad.
I'm very glad you did not go in there
I-
because
no.
there were 3 little kid fetuses, and fortunately for her, it wasn't very far along,
Yeah.
so it was probably a very easy passing. And so she wasn't due until like the end of May. So we're 2.5, 3, like she's only like halfway through her pregnancy. And so she had triplets, and so what we did, I called my vet and we got her cleaned up, used some warm water and some soap, got her cleaned up, gave her some antibiotics last night, some antibiotics today. Just because we didn't know, like, because goats will eat their afterbirth a lot, like most animals will. So, you won't, like, that's the big thing. Horses and anything, you want them to pass everything. If they're birthing or if they're miscarrying, whatever, you just want them to get everything that's supposed to be out. And so we did give her oxytocin this morning, made sure that she like expelled everything. We're going to go give her some Banamine after this so that she can like kind of calm down, and keep an eye on her. But yeah, that's just, and from a lot of goat breeders' standpoint that I've, talked to or seen comments from, it's a lot more common in like first fresheners than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's common kind of anytime, but especially with the first fresheners, which she is. So, but that's, yeah.
I texted Rachel and was like, I know I don't have any right to be upset, but
No, you do.
how do you?
Why not?
Yeah, why don't you have any right?
Because they're not mine,
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
but not really.
But even
But
if
they are.
even
I mean, I'm around them and whatnot, but
No, they are.
but even if they weren't yours, it's okay to be sad about sad things.
But like, I mean, like she's technically my puppy, but you're allowed to be sad if something bad happens to her because she's your friend.
that's fair.
So they don't have to be under your ownership for them to be your friends. Be sad about when they're hurting. That's just compassion. And when things stop bothering you is when you shouldn't be farming anymore.
True.
Because then you're disconnected from
Yeah.
it. Because it's always about the love of the animals. And it's always about, doing what's best for them and being stewards of them. And when you get hard to it, which I'm not going to say I'm not hard to it in a bit, like it's
You
different.
definitely know how to handle it.
I handle it in the situation and then I go like
Yeah.
break down afterwards.
Yeah.
So that kind of like leading into that situation was with Charlotte. So Charlotte had a stillbirth this week. And so like we had, been watching her like for a damn month. We'd been watching her for so long, and she had been, just kind of holding out, and she was at 357 days, and she was finally, it was a Sunday evening, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was a Sunday evening.
5:30, I think.
So it was such an odd time. It was 5:30 in the afternoon, and which makes me think something happened, and then she like went into labor quick. That's why I think the baby died right before she foaled, because that'll usually cause a mare or any mammal to just like go into labor. And I don't believe she would have chosen to go into labor at the end of the day when there's a hustle and bustle in the barn. Like I think if she had been in the correct state of everything, I think it would have been when everything's quiet, but she went into labor at like 5:30. And I was like showing some of my family members my new puppy who like I'd only had for like a day. And I was in my pajamas, like literally in my pajamas, like hanging out at the house. And the foal alert goes off. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I've jumped and run. Jonathan was out of town. Jonathan was with his mom at the hospital because she'd had a surgery. And nobody had gotten here yet because it was so early.
Yeah.
And it was right after everyone in the barn had left. So like I was just by myself. And so on the way over, I was calling Stephanie, who's our new trainer. She wouldn't answer, so I sent her a text. Called Rebecca, and Evan, who are 5 minutes down the road, said, "Hey, I have no one. Please come."
Yeah.
And then Jonathan got the full alert call. So he watched on the cameras and saw that I walked in by myself and noticed that I was by myself. So he's calling my dad and calling Stephanie and got them to come down. And so then, honestly, Charlotte, like, I think it's like hard to say that I'm glad to have seen her in this birthing situation with the outcome that we had, because it was a sad outcome. But like, take away the sad outcome, she did fantastic. Like, she's the one I've been nervous about. She's been the one that I've been like, oh, please don't like kill your baby, or like, you know, which who knows, hormones might have rushed differently had she gotten to see it and lick it and all the things. But she already had the head, neck, front feet, like out, was doing fantastic. And, hi, honey. And hold on. And she wasn't like frantic or anything. Like, she was just like doing it like a broodmare. Yeah, she was being like a seasoned broodmare.
I wonder if she kind of knew.
I don't know. And that's what I'm waiting on test results still. So we sent off the placenta and the foal for testing to see kind of like a, you know, post-mortem, like a necropsy kind of deal. But when the foal was born, and here's the thing, there's always like a moment when you don't see any life. When it's coming through the birth canal, it doesn't like really wake up until after that like chest pressure's been released. And so sometimes they're completely out of the sac and completely whatever, and there's nothing. So I wasn't really worried at that point. And then when it popped fully out, I was like, hello? Yeah. I was like, hello, wake up. Started vigorously rubbing it. Nothing's happening. My dad hollered at Evan, and they got a bucket of water really quick while I was calling the vet. Doused it with a bucket of water, because sometimes like that cold water will like shock them. Like that's something that's kind of more like an old cowboy technique, but it works. Doused it with a bucket of water. Nothing happened. Still sitting there rubbing. I got on the phone with Dr. Emily. She's like, do you feel anything? And we felt the faintest of heartbeats. And so we, or at least what we think is a faint heartbeat. You know, it's like, I don't know if in that moment it was like,
you know, you felt
adrenaline and feeling something.
Yeah, I don't. Who knows? Honestly.
Yeah.
But she was like, if there's an inkling of anything, get it here ASAP. Leave the mare. If you can leave the mare, leave her. So my dad's truck was pulled up, grabbed the baby, got it in the back of the truck I was in the back with him because we laid the seats up, or it was already laid up perfectly actually. Get in the back of the seat. Stephanie and Rebecca stayed back with Charlotte, and I'm so grateful for them. They made sure she was like good. And they said that after we left, she was just like eating, letting them tie her placenta up, not mad at them or nervous or anything. She was just good. And so I did CPR like the whole way there, which is not easy on a foal like that's taking up most of this back seat. And then I'm trying to make sure it's like neck is elongated so that the air actually like gets somewhere, and like trying to see if it's like inflating anything. And but like, you know, we got there, and obviously we tried when we got there with oxygen and you know, all the things. But before we got there, I think midway there, like I kind of just like knew, because the meconium like expelled from its body. And I was like, that's not right. So that was just like freaking sad. Yeah. It was a perfect little bay filly. Just really freaking sad. But so it's one of those things where, yeah, calm in the moment, you know, trying to just cover everything, cover all the bases. We get to the vet, and I'm just like probably seeming cold, honestly, at the vet. Because I'm like, well, this happened, this could have happened. Like, I'm just kind of racking my brain for answers or whatever. Dr. Christine even come over and like hugged me, and I'm just like, you know, not
Don't
like,
hug me.
yeah. No, I will always take a hug from Dr. Christine, because she's
that's sweet.
kind of like me, but you know, I wasn't in that like mode yet. Yeah. And then all the way home, we were just kind of quiet because my dad had been the one to drive me there. And my vehicle is at the barn. And I was like, yeah, probably just go drop me off at the barn. I'll go check on everything because I still had to give a couple of horses their meds, one like Woody and stuff. And so he dropped me off at the barn, and I started like walking away from the truck, and I was already sobbing like 10 feet away from the truck. And then I hear him stop, and I just hear the car door, and then he comes over and hugs me from behind, and it was just and then I just lost my ever loving mind and like threw up from crying so hard, like just lost it. And because there was nothing else I could do at that point. There was no more like trying to fix anything. So like literally like threw up in the driveway. I was crying so hard. And that's why I texted y'all being like, hey, because sometimes honestly it doesn't affect me that much, and I can go on and I can like work the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
But I texted Lindsay and Elena, and I was like, hey, payday off tomorrow. I
need a break.
I can't do tomorrow. And like hindsight's 2020, worst day to call off.
Oh yeah.
So much stuff
Yeah.
needed to happen that day.
I missed so much.
Worst day to call off. But I needed to just sleep, and yeah. I couldn't just be like professional that day. So that's probably one of the only times, because I mean, like even when Cool died, like that morning, I think I interviewed Rachel later that day. And like, I think I was like in robot mode, but like, I don't know what it was about Charlotte's baby that I was just like, I need to not do life for a day. Yeah. So yeah, this whole week has freaking sucked. Oh yeah. And Maggie had colic surgery at 300 days pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
Sheesh.
How's she
That was
doing?
next on my list.
She's doing great.
Baby
like
too.
Literally as good as they could be doing.
That's good.
And so it's still hard to navigate because I've never had a mare have colic surgery that late in her pregnancy or whatever. So it's like, it's an abdominal surgery. So, I mean, immediately you go to like pushing. Like, what's that going to look like when she has to push this baby out? And I talked to the surgeon about it because what happened was her colon was displaced.
Okay.
So
from the baby?
Horses, I'm not going to question how they're created. I'm not questioning it. There's probably a plan. I don't know the plan, though. The way that horses are put together is
beyond
weird.
Yeah.
And so their colon is just kind of like hangy floaty, and it shouldn't be. And you can't tack them down the way that you tack dogs down, like dogs' colons down, because they like rip and they're more fragile. And so they are just kind of moving if they're healthy even. But it got on the wrong side of her body. And I don't know. This is speculation. It could have been like the foal getting into position, moving it around. Mm-hmm. So sorry. There's so much hand movement going on. But the colon ended up getting underneath the foal on the wrong side of her body. And then the foal laying on it caused all the swelling and gas to build up within it.
Oh my goodness.
So she's just like in the worst pain of her life.
Yeah.
And they had to go in and surgically move it back to where it was supposed to go. And luckily it was a healthy colon still. Like we caught it so quickly that it hadn't like died or become like where they had to do like a resection or anything. Because if they had to do any like cutting out of it or whatever and sewing it back up, it would have been a very bleak situation. But it was all good. Baby was good. She's like 304 days today, I think. Mm-hmm. And so we would love for her to cook it another month at least. If not 6 weeks, that would be fine because that would give her more time to heal. But in the past, she's gone in like the 320s. So that's like 3 weeks from now. So I did ask them, I was like, does she need to come back to foal, like at the clinic? Can she have her baby at home? Like, what does this look like? Can she even push? And they were like, honestly, we'll keep an eye on her, but we think she can foal at home. If you feel like she needs to come back, we can do that. But I mean, I don't think it's in her best interest to go sit in the hospital for 6 more weeks. I think if she can be at home, it's better for her.
Especially around friends.
And she can't really go out yet. Like she has to be on stall rest for another 6 weeks, I believe, with hand walking. And then after that, it's like limited and then she can go up from there. It's definitely like, in my opinion, some people have bred their mares after colic surgery. In my opinion, she's a recip mare. Her job is to safely carry embryos that are super expensive, and that's the business side of it. And then the other side of it is I see no reason for her to foal out another baby. Like we're not using her genetics. We're not like, there's no reason to really risk it in my opinion.
Right.
And she's a 9-year-old sound thoroughbred mare. And so I think our plan, I haven't even talked about this, I think anywhere else. I think our plan for her is after she foals, after, hopefully everything goes well. Mm-hmm. After she foals, weans, then we're by having Stephanie here at the property, for the next, for about 60 to 90 days, maybe, or however long it takes, starter under saddle. She's already been a racehorse, so she's been broke to a certain extent. So starter under saddle, and we have a really big hunter community in our Middle Tennessee area, and they don't have to be a registered quarter horse, or they can just be a horse. They don't have to be registered. And I don't have her jockey club papers, but I'm sure someone could probably get them. And she's 15 one hands. So I think if we could get her going to then be a really cute hunter pony project for somebody, I think that would be her best case scenario. Yeah. She's sound, she's sweet, she's cute, mover. I see no reason for her to sit in a pasture for 20 more years. I think she can go have a job.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to do our best to set her up for that. But yeah, I feel like I just talked about a whole lot of sad stuff this entire time.
It was a week.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is just how it's been. So the cuteness factor does help. The timing of this potato the potato that is in my lap right now has been great. It's been a nice little reprieve from sadness.
Yes.
But yeah, it sucks. We got 4 babies left, 4 big babies left, 2 little babies.
Ones.
And then the goats. It's sad that happened. And she is let's see, how old is she? She's 20 months. And so I might do a little digging on what breeders think about age-wise for first fresheners, because it might be in her best interest if she is going to have babies in her lifetime to go ahead and have some within this year.
Yeah.
For the fact of her age. So it may be the case where Taz comes and hangs out with Honey and Bella in April, May.
Yeah.
For some a fall kidding.
Yeah.
Just with 2 of them. I haven't decided on that yet though. We'll see.
That'd be fun.
So yeah. Is that about, I think that's about it as far as all the crap that's happened over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, other than, Stephanie is training.
Oh yeah, if you haven't watched that video.
Putting saddles on the horses.
What have you been enjoying watching that?
So I've been enjoying watching Stephanie all together.
She's
I've
awesome.
never been around a trainer.
She just aura farms all day.
Truly.
Low key though.
She just is
She's
too
farming.
Cool. Yeah.
And whenever she does that little with the whip.
So she holds her whip different and does it from the back, and I'm
it's nice.
so cool.
It's nice. It's pretty cool.
It's farming.
Yeah, aura farming.
And she just doesn't care, and she's so nonchalant and just does her stuff, and
she's just,
I love the team of women.
She's a baddie. We have baddies here.
So yeah, we all have a crush on Stephanie.
She's
it's
cool.
fine.
She's awesome.
But
seeing Daphne buck was funny. Or Crossfire.
We're gonna do some videos for their first rides. We haven't really done all
Yeah.
their first saddling on YouTube. We did a video about Stephanie if you want to go watch that. And we're gonna try to get her in the hot seat on a Catching Up With Katie episode to kind of interview and find out more about. But yeah, I look forward to that. I think I think such as farm life, this past 10 days or so, it's been sad, but there's so many happy moments within it too. It's just a very up and down mix of emotions. So, yeah, I think that's everything that's happened over the last couple weeks. We have so much going on right now that I do think the Catching Up With Katie is just kind of filling in as needed. I don't think it's an every week thing until we get back to normal scheduling. So let us know what you'd like to talk about on the next episode, if there's any videos that you want to see. And if you haven't checked out the new merch, there's new foals. There's all kinds of new designs. KatieVanSlyke.net. Go check that out. And we'll see y'all in the next one. Frankie, wake up for them. Say goodbye, Frankie.